The SL3-S is Leica's most recent camera. Compared to the original SL3, it shines especially in the video department. For most video use cases though, we just don't pick it up like this and start shooting. We need to rig it first. In this video, I will put together two of my most used rigs. One is a handheld rig and also easy to mount on a tripod for longer takes. The other one, of course, is a gimbal mount. The SL3-S has been out for a few weeks now and I finally got my hands on one. It's not mine, it belongs to Alexander Görlitz. Alex owns a Leica boutique in Vidoe, Germany. For the past few years, I bought all my Leica stuff from Alex. About a year ago, we even met in Wetzlar, where he personally handed me my own original Leica SL3, which I bought on the first day of its release. Now, a year later, Alex sent me this SL3-S for a few weeks. The lens is mine. I bought it with my own money a few years ago, just to be absolutely correct. Alex does not pay me, I can say whatever I want. He just lended me the camera body for free to try it out and make some videos. I am of course mostly interested in its video capabilities. I shoot almost all my YouTube stuff and most of my corporate videos on the Panasonic S5 which is filming me right now. I even use this for a scene in my latest TV feature. Can the SL3-S eventually replace the S5 The Panasonic, of course, is almost 2 years old and now it's much cheaper than the SL3-S. But I like the SL body, I like the quality of the body, I like the viewfinder, I like the Leica menus. I also like the tilt screen. The Panasonic has a flip-out screen, which is not always helpful. One of the advantages of the tilt screen is that you can hold it like this and you can tilt it up and then I can look down and shoot my video or even take photos. With the Panasonic, you can't do that because it's stuck. It's not possible to just tilt it up. You can flip it out and then you can tilt it, but it's not possible to just tilt it up. After all the shoots with the Panasonic, I have developed a pretty cool rig and I will adapt this now with the SL3-S. Before I start, let me also mention that I'm working on a video about the SL3-S menu and my specific settings. This will be released very soon. So this would be a great moment for you to subscribe to my channel to not miss that video. According to my stats, my channel is being watched very well, but 87.4% of all views in the past 28 days have been from non-subscribers. It would be a great help for me and for the channel that if you're enjoying my videos, you also would become a subscriber. Thank you so much. But now, let's rig that baby. Here are all the accessories I will need to put together my rig. I will talk about each and everything while assembling it. I also have links for each and everything in the description, so if you're interested, you can look them up. First, of course, and the heart of a rig is the cage. For years, it was very hard to find cages for Leica SL bodies, but about a year ago, SmallRig released its cages for the SL3 and also the SL2. So if you have an SL2 or an SL2S, you will be able to assemble the same rig as well. You don't need the SL3S for that. So let's put the camera into the rig. The cool thing about that cage is that you can put it on the camera while a lens is mounted, which is not possible, for example, if I remember correctly, with the Panasonic. Then you have here this tool. This tool is a little bit fragile. You can store it here. This works the same on every SmallRig cage I know, but even though it's magnetic and it's actually a good place to store it, I already lost this. And it's very hard to find as a separate accessory, but SmallRig offers a SmallRig tool box, which I highly recommend. You'll find there the little tool, you'll find several screws you mostly lose at some point. So this is a very good, it's not expensive, it's about $20. This is a very good tool to have. You then have here those little fixation parts on the side, which you can just push up into those handles that on the SL3-S and 3. And this gives the cage a really secure fixed hold. It's very safe. Then you have here on the side, you have this removable fixation for cables. We're gonna talk about that later. Let me first now talk about power with the rig. I'm gonna use the SmallRig V-mount battery. And this can power the camera at the same time as the monitor. But we need a special accessory for the camera to use that. And this is the Leica USB-C DC coupler for the DC SCL6, which replaces the battery. So we take out the battery here and we put in this accessory, and now we have a USB-C cable where we then can connect the battery to the camera, and it just works perfectly. You also can, if you have a studio situation, put a power plug on that, and then you can shoot all day without any changes of batteries and without thinking about the battery at all. Let me also mention on the cage, as a little gimmick, they can engrave your name if you like that. I think it's funny. Yeah, I know it's mine. So now we have the second heart, or basically the base of everything, which is the base plate with the tubes and with an Arca Swiss mount, because the cage has an Arca Swiss mount. I have an Arca Swiss mount here, and so I can just put it in. And then I have this very cool stabilizer for the lens. I have a heavy lens on it, but I don't want to give the mount so much pressure. So I need first to fix the camera here. And now I can open that and I can support the lens. I might want to use the focus ring here. So I need to position that in a way that I still can turn the ring, which is up here. I push that up a little bit. So now I have it fixed. The lens now is supported. I'm still able to turn the focus ring. And of course, I'm able to turn the zoom ring. Now we can already talk about the battery. So I have this also from SmallRig. I have this V-mount mount plate, which has no electricity in it at all. It's also not an expensive accessory. I put the battery on here, and we now can see a little bit that our rig is starting to look pretty cool. Next, let me talk about the follow focus system. I have also here one from SmallRig. I can tell you, I don't use this for focus. I use this for the zoom ring, especially when I mount this lens, because of course on the Panasonic as well as on the Leica, there you have a very good autofocus. I have not tested the autofocus here. It's one thing I'm eager to see. So I always shoot especially my YouTube stuff because I cannot handle the focus right now. And also my corporate stuff, when I'm running around with the camera, I want it to help me focus. I'm not that good in manual focusing with video. I really much rely on the autofocus of the camera. So I don't need a follow focus for focus. I need the wheel here to easier access the zoom ring. We now have a very good accessible zoom ring. Then we have a top handle, also from SmallRig, and also mounted on that I have already, I cannot take it away anymore because it's fixed so hard. It's also from SmallRig, a monitor mount. So first we're going to put on the handle here, which is very important. You really need to screw on really hard so you don't have a problem with that. So now it's already pretty good to hold. And it's actually already, thanks to the battery, it's really good balanced as well. Now I have two monitors. I have the Atomos Ninja 5 and I also have the video assist from Blackmagic, the 12G, which I use mostly on the Panasonic now because it can record Blackmagic RAW. The Blackmagic RAW feature is not yet available on the SL3-S. It is available on the SL2-S, so if you have an SL2-S, you can already record Blackmagic RAW with the 12G. If you are not using DaVinci and if you want to use ProRes RAW, for example, you need to use the Atomos Ninja 5 because here you can buy your access to the RAW capability of the monitor. I don't have it here, but I'm going to mount both of them, starting with the Ninja, because there's also a special accessory you need, and this is the Atom X battery eliminator, which does the same than the Leica accessory. It just imitates the battery. Now we mount this here. Now we can talk about the screen a little bit here. This I only can flip up. This, of course, would give me the possibility to also see what I'm recording here. It also helps to navigate through the menu and everything, because you can, of course, not navigate through the menu on the Ninja. So you need to have access to your little monitor of the camera. This is actually pretty cool on the Panasonic, because you are able to flip out the screen to the side, and then you move the battery a little bit more in, and then you have basically the menu and everything you have on the side, and you can access it much easier. So this is going to be a challenge, but maybe not. It's very easy to see it, and it's still very good accessible. Now let's talk about electricity and all the cables. So of course we need to power the camera. For that we have this little fella here, and we just put this together, number one. Then we have this special cable for the battery and the monitor. The access is here on the side. Okay, this is not so cool. We're gonna go around here, so it's out of the way. So now we need to also give the Atomos some video. Video, of course, comes from here, and now this little fella would come into play. You can put that on here, and then I can stabilize the HDMI cable. My problem with this cable, I never tried this out because it's my first time. I cannot use this because I have no chance to put the plug through this here. So I would need to organize a slimmer HDMI. But actually, with the Panasonic, I never used it. So we put it on the side, and we will not gonna use this. So we just put in here the HDMI, and it's on the right side. And then we go here to HDMI in. And now it should be all powered. So let's see what happens if we start it. We first need to turn on the battery. And what we can see pretty good right now is that we have a little bit of a delay. This is basically the live feed, and you can see here that we are a little bit on a delay. I would argue this is not a problem. I had it with the Panasonic as well. There's also a delay. I don't care about that. So now this is, let's say, almost finished. We now, of course, have the possibility to record on different storage plates. So you can, of course, record internally on the SL3-S. We here have now the fast CF Express card. Mine goes up to 700 megabits, which, for example, for RAW is not enough. RAW, I think you need to record externally, but for ProRes, there is a setting that needs 2000, so this is not going to be fast enough. But there are faster cards, of course. We can attach an external SSD, which I'm going to do now. We can record from the camera directly to the SSD. I do record Blackmagic RAW from the Blackmagic Video Assist, which then I'm going to need the plate attached to the Video Assist. Oh my God, it's complicated. But what I want to go at is, there's another accessory I need to mount the external plate, and this is this little thing here. It's also from SmallRig. I just put that basically up here on the cold shoe. So this is the extreme version, the faster one. There is also a little bit a smaller one with less bandwidth. Both work fine. And then in this case, I have a Thunderbolt 3 cable, so it's fast enough. And in the case of the SL3, I'm gonna just put it here, and then it's a little bit too long, put it here. Now I am done, and let me also check again how to access the menu, which is also still pretty easy. I have enough space to do that. So this actually works pretty well. Let's now exchange the monitor. And now we bring in the Blackmagic. This is the 12 G, the advantage here is you have here the USB port where you need to plug in the drive. The other one, the smaller one, has the mount here, which is very strange because when you mount it here, you cannot plug in the hard drive. So I don't know why they did that, but so that's why I got the 12-inch, and also it's more comfortable because it's a little bigger. And now again, we just plug the HDMI in, and we just plug the power on the side, which I think is more comfortable, and the USB-C drive. And also here we have this little delay, which in the real world, actually, I never had a problem with it. Even though when I was following stuff and it had to be fast, it was actually not a problem. This is now a little bit front heavy, but of course we would do it like this, and then it's much more balanced, and you can shoot pretty well with this. And you can very easy, if you have a tripod plate, you can really easy just snap it on a tripod, and then you can do longer shots, you can do pans and everything, and it's very controlled. It's a really functional and very easy, good thing. You can hold it up here, you can hold it here. It is really, you can support it here. I really think it is a pretty solid rig. And of course now you can see I can use the zoom ring. It's all very, very accessible. Let me also tell the reason how I came up with this was at a point where I thought I'm gonna buy a Blackmagic Pixie, which I think is a very cool camera, and I would really be interested in do maybe a short film with that. But for me, as like a single camera person, I need the autofocus capability. And so I rigged the Pixie, I liked it, and then I tested it for like 10 minutes, and then I decided I'm not feeling secure enough because I had a project where I had to be very fast with focus, and the autofocus really saved my life. So I started to build this with the Panasonic, and it's basically now really good adaptable for the SL3-S as well. Of course, now we can also record ProRes with this. We cannot record ProRes RAW. For ProRes RAW, we need the Atomos Ninja 5 with the RAW function enabled, which costs, I think, $99 one time for each machine. And the Blackmagic RAW doesn't cost any money. You just need to have the Blackmagic version of the monitor. But the SL3-S, as of now in March, it does not, or like mid-March 2025, it does not support the Blackmagic RAW version function. But I'm sure it's just going to be weeks, and then we will be able to do that as well with the SL3-S. Now off to the rig with the gimbal. I have all accessories here to mount it on a gimbal. I'm using a Ronin RS2. That's an older gimbal, but it still works for me very well because it can handle heavier loads. So I'm going to talk about the accessories I have for the gimbal mount while assembling it as I did before. First, of course, we need to put together the gimbal. On the Panasonic, I was not able to mount the Arca Swiss directly to the gimbal. Let's see if this is possible here. No, it's going to be hard. Maybe I need to, if I put this first here, this actually should fit and it fits, but maybe it works here. So this would eliminate the plate to mount it on the gimbal. With the Panasonic, it does not work because when I balance it, I need to move the camera more to this side, and then it's just not, I cannot balance it. So it's probably going to be the same here. Let's fix it for a moment, and then let's see if we can balance that. I balance it on 35 millimeters, so I still have the possibility to go to 24 or maybe to a 50. If I go further than 50, I would need to rebalance it, but this would only be like the weight going back and forth. So we don't have a problem with this axis, so we can use just the cage. It's not possible with the Panasonic. So cool. So I balance it first. That's already pretty good. So I can fix that again, and then we just need to do like small adjustments in the end, because of course I'm gonna have cables and everything that will a little bit move the weight of the whole situation. But I first want to talk about is the monitor rig. It's also an accessory from SmallRig, and I'm going to put it here on this side. And this time I'm going to start with the bigger monitor, which is, of course, the Blackmagic. And we need to mount it on the top, so it's hanging a little bit down here. Why? Because, of course, we need to be able to move the camera, and the gimbal needs to swing on that side, so I cannot put it here. The camera would not be able to be free floating. Now, this is also an original accessory from the gimbal. I did not buy that separately. It gives me a second grip, a second handle. And I bought, as a special accessory, the DJI tripod foot, I don't know how they actually call it, to put it here. Because now I'm having a pretty heavy load, but I am able to hold it here, and I'm able to hold it here, which gives me, later when it's not fixed anymore, which gives me a fantastic way of holding it and handling it. And if I have to put it down, I just can put it down, and I don't need to unscrew it and screw it up here. So this is actually something I recommend. We only need to power it. This time we're gonna need the battery again, because I of course cannot have a V-mount battery on the gimbal, which I forgot. So I need to undo it again. Now we're back. And now, of course, we have two cables. Again, the HDMI cable to the monitor, which works, which needs a little bit to be teared apart. I sometimes use longer cables for this, but it's actually pretty elastic, and the gimbal motor is strong enough. And then I want to mount, of course, the hard drive. This time I need to mount it on the monitor itself, because I don't want to add another cable to the camera system, and I don't want to add weight to the camera. I mounted a little cold screw from SmallRig on the monitor, so I can mount the SSD rig plate as well. So now I have this, and of course, now the monitor needs power. So I'm adding one of those heavy Sony capable batteries. I put it here, and now I'm ready to go. Of course, what I can say, this is a heavy setup. It is not balanced that good. It's a little bit tilting to the left because, of course, of the monitor. But use it a day, and then you feel muscles you have never felt before, which can be fun the next day. Yeah. This is the gimbal mount. Now, the only thing I'm going to do now is just exchange the Blackmagic for the Atomos, and then we will see how that looks. Now, of course, if we want to record directly to the SSD on the camera, we need to add weight on the camera, and we need to mount the SSD on the camera, which is also possible, pretty easy. We just use the Leica shoe up here. And then, of course, we need to rebalance here a little bit. We need to switch it around. The plug has to be in front, otherwise it has a problem here with the gimbal. It still has a problem with the gimbal. Push it a little bit further in front, and now we need to rebalance this here, not that much. And same, but a little bit different. As you can see, it works absolutely perfect. I am definitely ready now to do some video testing. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. If you're interested in my last year's trip to Wetzlar, where I met Alex, and I also visited the spot where the first ever Leica picture was taken, check out this video. Or check out this video about the Leica M system. In any case, stay curious.